It's been nearly a decade since Mitsubishi has been a little bit exciting. In 2015, they killed off the Lancer Evolution, the 10th generation. The only car remaining in the lineup nowadays is a Mirage, and everything else is a crossover, including the once revered Eclipse. But today, Mitsubishi's announced something that's got my motor revved for the first time in nearly a decade for the Japanese automaker. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name's Kirk. I talk about Japanese cars quite often here. Make sure to subscribe for industry auto news. And let's get into Mitsubishi's midterm business plan, their challenge for 2025, and growth for the next generation. We'll start with the bullet points, and then we're going to get into some juicy slides that we converted from Japanese. So they're aiming for a sales volume of 1.1 million vehicles and an operating profit of about a 7% margin. Now, the United States is not their largest market by any means. You can see about 100,000 units is what they're averaging since 2015. And of course, it's been down since the pandemic hit. So you could roughly say about 10% of the sales of our Mitsubishi is here in the United States. And since the United States is such a small percentage, they're going to be really pushing the resources for the Asian and Oceania markets. To give you an idea, here are the countries that form up what I call Southeast Asia, essentially, which are these Asian countries, or ASEAN. I'm not sure how you say it because we don't talk a lot about that here in North America. The Oceanic countries, of course, Australia and New Zealand, but also the really small Pacific Islands are incorporated into that group of Oceania as well. So those are going to be the major markets for Mitsubishi in the coming years. In the next 5 years, they're going to roll out 16 new models, including 9 xEVs. We'll talk about their EV stuff here in a little bit. They're going to increase investment by around 30% over 6 years to 2028 compared with the past 6 years in research and development. Okay, just like every other company out there, they're talking about achieving carbon neutrality, over 200 billion yen by 2030 to procure 15 gigawatt hours of battery procurement. Now, I did some numbers earlier. 15 gigawatt hours roughly translates to about 200,000 battery electric vehicles, but that's not their goal. Their goal is battery electric vehicles, hybrids, and plug-in hybrids we'll talk about in a second. They will further bolster their linking with the Alliance, which of course is Nissan. Nissan owns like 35+% of Mitsubishi, somewhere around there. And then of course their other partner in that is Renault. Okay, so we have a few slides in here that are in Japanese, but we're going to use good old Google Translate and figure out what we're seeing here, at least in the English language. All right, let's start with this guy. 16 models in total, including 9 electrified models. They lay it out pretty clearly here. Here are particular ICE models. This looks like a new Triton. I'd love to have the Triton here in the United States, but unless it's made alongside of the Nissan Frontier and just kind of rebadged, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. I just don't see it happening. We also have this PPV, which I had to look it up. It doesn't mean pay-per-view. It means public passenger vehicles. Don't see those coming to the United States either. They'll be big in the Asian markets. You also have a 3-row SUV. This could, is this going to be seen in America? I highly doubt it because they're forcing electrification in the more developed countries more heartily, and we're not going to see an MPV or a multi-purpose vehicle or minivan or anything like that. I think for the United States, it's going to be more on the electrified side, but let's still focus on these vehicles down here. And this is what's crazy is this XFC concept, which I call like the KFC concept. That's what it looks like when I first see XFC. It's supposed to be fully battery electric, but it looks like they're also going to have an ICE version of it. And they're also planning on bringing out a new Delica and also a new tiny K passenger car. Okay, so moving on over to the right-hand side, the electrified models here. Would we see a fully battery electric pickup truck? And I think there's a good possibility. Well, I'm not saying good, but I can see how it could come to fruition. And it would come to fruition through Nissan. Nissan has said that they plan on making or at least they're looking into making a small electric pickup truck. They've already showed like concepts of such a thing. So I think that is where we could see this small battery electric pickup truck from Mitsubishi in the United States. I think they could benefit massively from having a pickup here in the United States as well. But the problem is they would have to be built here stateside to avoid the chicken tax. So yeah, stay tuned for something like this, but I think there is a chance that it could happen. two-row SUV battery electric vehicle, and there's also a two-row SUV hybrid electric vehicle. Now, we look at what Nissan's doing. Nissan's kind of skipping hybrids here in North America and then going fully battery electric. I think all these hybrids will come from Japan. And remember, Mitsubishi doesn't have a plant in North America anymore. They used to have one in Normal, Illinois. Rivian's actually making pickup trucks and electrified vehicles out of there. So all of their vehicles are either going to have to be manufactured along Nissans at a Nissan plant in North America or be brought over from Japan. I think all their hybrids will be brought over from Japan, and all their battery electric vehicles will be built here stateside so they can take advantage of the $7,500 EV tax credit. This vehicle could very well come from the Canton, Mississippi plant, where they're going to be building Nissan and Infiniti electric vehicles by 2025. We won't get an MPV here hybrid, and we won't get the Expander. The Expander is kind of an MPV as well. It's like a large body on frame. It kind of reminds me of the Innova from Toyota, which we don't get here in the United States. It's built kind of off the Fortuner and Hilux. Okay, the ASX. The ASX is the same thing here as the Outlander Sport, I believe. We just don't have this new model here yet, but hopefully it's coming pretty soon. And keep in mind, this is an electrified model, so we will get a hybrid version of it. I don't think we'll see the Colt here stateside. Future Kirk coming at you guys as I was editing this. The Colt stuck out to me. Like, where's the Mirage? So the gear started turning. I'm like, well, maybe they get rid of the Mirage and replace it with the Colt as a universal model or global model, whatever you want to call it. I think that's probably what's going to happen. So the Colt, from my understanding, is a little bit bigger than the Mirage, and this is coming under the electrified lineup. So we would get a hybrid in theory, because do we have an ICE Colt? Well, at least they're not mentioning an ICE model, but I wouldn't be surprised if for North America that they would bring an ICE model. But check this out. It is confirmed as an electrified model, meaning a hybrid. So if we get, like, the current Mirage already gets 39 miles per gallon combined. If you add an additional 25% to that, I mean, this could be one of the most affordable, fuel-efficient cars on the market here in the United States. Colt would be a cool name for it. I don't know if they even have the trademark for the United States. They'd probably just keep it Mirage. But yeah, it would be a global model, be a little bit bigger, look pretty cool. I like the lights on it. Definitely unique with these daytime running lights. And the fact that it's pretty much, a done design means we'll see a redesign on it pretty soon here. I mean, and if you look at the Mirage Wiki, I'm not a guru when it comes to the Mirage here. I love the affordability of it and the compact nature, but it's also been called the Colt in the past. The current generation, the 6th generation Mirage, has pretty much been on the market since 2012. So it's long in the life cycle. It needs to be redesigned, and we will be getting a hybrid of it. That's probably the most exciting thing of the news that we have coming out today. So leave it to little old Mitsubishi to bring the hybrids on over for the Nissan Renault Alliance. Nissan, like I said, is skipping them. So that's great to see Mitsubishi taking advantage of that market, they don't want to spend that much on a battery electric vehicle, and it just doesn't work for their lifestyle. And the affordability here is going to be awesome. I would be happy owning this cute little hatchback over, let's say, a Prius if the price is right, and just if it's a crazy good deal. I love the Mirage nature. Anyways, I don't want to get too much off rails. Let's get back to Kirk in the past and talk about what other vehicles are coming out for Mitsubishi. Again, a K car and not going to be coming to America. And this Alliance BEV could be maybe the return of the Galant or something. We know Nissan's building electric sedans out of that Canton, Mississippi plant, so maybe we get a Mitsubishi Galant return. That would be pretty cool. Here's the last slide. This is kind of like a product roadmap, which I really enjoy sinking my teeth into these things. Out of the vehicles up top, the ICE vehicles, the XFC concept might be the only one coming to America. On down below, we have the ASX. So hopefully here in America, and this is the Colt as well. Hopefully here in America, we get the Outlander Sport sometime at the end of 2023, early 2024 timeframe. So in 2025, we see a couple battery electric vehicles here from Mitsubishi, and they look like both crossovers. This might be the new Leaf. They could be rebadging the Leaf as a Mitsubishi here. And Renault, this is probably a vehicle for Europe, since we don't get any Renault vehicles here in the United States that I'm aware of. We won't be getting this Expander, but I think a two-row hybrid SUV could very well come to the United States. And now that I'm looking into this, it actually isn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. I thought we would see more models here. And I think really we're just going to see, again, more Nissan rebadges, especially when it comes to electric models. I really would love to see an electric pickup truck here, but according to this graph, their electric pickup truck is probably going to Southeast Asia and Oceania. So the headlines got me more excited for Mitsubishi than what their slides did. And it's because they're not really focusing on America. They're going to be focusing on building vehicles from their alliance, whether it's Renault or Nissan vehicles, just for the prospective markets in Europe and in North America. And speaking of Nissan's electrification, things are looking rough with the Ariya. Remember, it was supposed to launch like when was it? Okay, it was supposed to launch in the second half of 2021. It was delayed to the end of 2022. And they're only generating Ariyas at 1/3 of the output that they were planning, which wasn't very high to begin with. And it's thanks to the chip supply issues, component supply issues, and paint issues of all things. Ariya's production has been slowed by problems with the highly automated intelligent factory manufacturing system it built for the model at its first plant, Tochigi. Nissan designed this system to allow it to produce cars with different powertrains, batteries, hybrids, and internal combustion engines on the same line. Well, Toyota's already doing this at the Motomachi plant as well, and they've had their own production issues with the BZ4X, etc., especially these past couple of years since COVID. One of their sources said implementation has proved an extremely high challenge, and the advanced paint line has become a persistent headache. Also happening this week, S&P Global Ratings cut Nissan's debt rating to junk status, saying margins and sales volumes were unlikely to improve as quickly as they previously expected. Nissan has targeted production of 400 Ariyas a day, according to Two of the People, equivalent to nearly 9,000 vehicles a month and more than 100K a year. So they're targeting 9,000 a month. Output in March was forecasted under 6,900 vehicles, 5,200 in April, and only 5,400 in May. And they have since been lowered. US dealers stopped taking customer reservations last year for the Ariya, and Japanese dealers stopped taking orders last August. With a starting price around $43,000 in the US, the Ariya is an alternative to the Model Y, which costs about $4,300 more after recent price cuts and US incentives. If you plan on leasing the Ariya, you can qualify for the $7,500 tax credit as well. This intelligent factory, we have more information here, but it is not intelligently running. But if it were, I think it would really help Nissan out. So they invested $243 million into this intelligent factory, and it represents a completely new production system with robotics and zero emission pledge. The new paint line was designed to paint an entire car, including the body and bumpers, together to boost efficiency and become more environmentally friendly. And Nissan has also invested in a new assembly technique that allows different powertrains to be lifted from underneath before robotic installation, saving time. The new system used an automated pallet to mount a pre-assembled powertrain. In Investor Day 2023, Tesla also mentioned assembling vehicles in this sort of fashion, except for Tesla, it'll be infinitely more simple because they're just installing electrified powertrains. Looks like Nissan is trying to do this with every single powertrain they have. I'm going to look up Ariyas within a 100-mile distance from me over at cars.com. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. Ariya Evolve Plus, $52,000. It's selling, it looks like, at MSRP here where I live in Naples. I haven't seen one on the street yet, which is quite strange because typically brand new cars, there's so much money down here. I see every single make and model of car as soon as it comes out. I have not seen an Ariya on the street yet. And I like the copper color we have here. I think it's quite attractive. But it looks like most of these are either the Premier or the Evolve Plus, which are all over $50,000. Here's a base model in Engage, and it's at $44,735 here. I really want to drive it and test it to see how it compares to like the BZ4X. The BZ4X is, well, we know its strengths and weaknesses. Looking at some BZ4Xs in the area, they're eclipsing over $50,000 as well in the top limited trim. And those are just front wheel drive, mind you. you can save about 5 grand here and get an Ariya Engage for $45,000. Slightly more power. I think they're probably about the same acceleration though. And it doesn't look like any E-Force models are available as of yet, which is a little bit unfortunate because it adds so much power to this vehicle. But I'm going to end it there. A lot of Mitsubishi and Nissan talk today. I'll see you guys in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed it, made it this far in the video, really appreciate it. It would also help me out massively if you hit that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, a great weekend if you're watching this on the weekend, and peace out.